Hi, welcome to the 100 Buckle Shelf Tour, Part 3. This is just going through all of my various shelves of comic books, novels, graphic novels, everything. I'm just going to run through them all. It's going to take a bit of time, but this is the third part. First one, the Golden Age Marvel Comics. I love this one. Now, I had quite a lot of these Marvel Masterworks over the years. I haven't got as many as I used to. Got a few hardback ones still, but most of the soft ones I got rid of. This one I kept because it's one of my favourites. I really love this one. This one includes the first timely comic, and also it's got some great bonus material at the back. Just absolutely brilliant. And you can see the covers there. Marvel Comics, Marvel Mystery Comics 2, 3 and 4. This one's great. I love the Essentials. I've bought quite a few over the years and they're just great. Mainly because they're a bit like the UK comics, black and white. And they're just really great for the line work. If you want to look at them, sort of, obviously you've got the colour ones, all the epic collections, completes and those sort of things, they're fine. But these, I think, are really, really good. This is the Uncanny X-Men, the Essential one. I think it's probably the first, maybe it's the first one, I don't know. They did a couple of different versions of this. So this one is volume 1, and you can see it includes original X-Men 1 to 24. Really brilliant, great little stories. And it's a nice little format. And of course, quite expensive, some of these now. Not all, but many of you look online. Sometimes some go for 50, 100 quid. I'm not certain many people buy them at those sort of prices, but that's the sort of prices you often see these Essentials going for. But now, of course, most people probably get them in, obviously, omnibus edition. And I've got the stories, of course, in omnibus as well. But also, of course, epic collections as well. This is superb. The Secret Teachings of a Comic Book Master. The Art of Alfredo Alcala. Anyway, said his name completely wrong. Alcala. I think this is just great. It's also got an introduction by one of my favourites, Gil Kane. I love Gil Kane's work. And this is just a brilliant book. This is a Dover Publications. I love Dover. I've got loads and loads of Dover Publications over the years. This is a real nice one with some beautiful sort of sword and sorcery artwork all the way through. And I bought it because, well, I've got the Conan omnibuses and I thought, oh, that's great, superb artist. Really must find out a little bit more. And I suddenly saw this book and I thought, oh, I will get it. Very thin, but at the same time, it is very, very enjoyable. This one is superb. I love Jeffrey Jones, the definitive reference. Now, there was a choice between about 3 or 4 books. When I found this in the bookshop up in Hull. And I thought, wow, I have been looking for Jeffrey Jones, one of the books on Jeffrey Jones. And this one, I thought, you know what, this is the lovely one. And it's quite fairly light. Some of the others were a bit more hefty books. But this is just a beautiful, definitive reference. Now, the pictures are fairly small. I mean, I'm not saying that they're enormous. So you can see the artwork's not full page, which is a pity. But still, I really love this one. It's just great, lots and lots of details about all the various covers, books and comics he did. Just great. So, and there's the back cover there. You see Epic, Vampirella, Weird Tales of the Macabre, for Monsters Only, Wonder Woman. I love that one, for Wonder Woman. That's a very unusual cover, that one. And of course, science fiction, pulp magazines, etc. Fantastic stories. This one is superb, an unusual one. I picked this up in an Oxfam shop and it's Italian. I think I'm assuming anyway, that it was an exhibition full of some really brilliant comic strips, Italian. It's all in Italian. Yes, it is all in Italian. Well, certain that was the case. And it's Antonio Rubino. Must admit, knew absolutely nothing about him. So, but still, at the same time, really fascinating, really unusual. Some really unusual artwork and some sort of interesting, of course, I can't read Italian, so I have no idea. I don't think there's no English whatsoever in this, but thoroughly enjoyable artwork. And this is one of the sort of books you sort of pick up in a bookshop. You know that if you don't pick this up at that point, you'll never see it again because, of course, that's it. Probably 1 or 2 copies in the UK, full stop. I might be wrong on that, but I'm certain it can't be huge numbers of copies. I love this work. Droulet, I don't know how I'm saying his name probably completely wrong, but this is just brilliant. The Lone Slain, I assume that's how it's said, but anyway, I just always enjoyed, whenever I see any of his work, I think, wow, what superb French artist. And I've wanted a volume of this. I've seen quite a lot of these were in my local library. I was at Springfield Library. It used to have zillions and zillions of like graphic novels that go through, and it had a lot of these sort of things. And I just loved looking at this artwork. And it was just nice to get a copy finally. And it's just, I mean, it's the most completely confusing story. I mean, it really is brilliant artwork, but really, I have no idea. I don't even think I've ever worked out the story. But wow, this is just amazing European French artwork at its best as far as I'm concerned. This is superb as well. I love quite a lot of these books. These are very unusual ones. This one's Self-Made Hero. They bring out lots of these sort of books on. This one's Isadora Duncan, and it is just beautiful. I assume this was originally a French book. Obviously, this is in English, and this is just absolutely lovely. Really beautifully drawn all the way through. And there's the back cover. This is just a masterpiece. Absolutely great. There's also Josephine Baker. There's loads of them. They did loads of these sort of books, and I hope they bring out many more. There's a couple I saw recently. I thought, you know what, must pick up a copy of that. So this one, Isadora, definitely worth checking out. Over there, these ones are great. These are just covers and also other illustrations as well. But they're really, obviously maybe not for everyone, but they're colouring books. Colour your own Doctor Strange. And there's quite a few of these sort of things. But sometimes you pick up one in the shop and you think, wow, that's good. And I think this was one of the sort of, I can't remember what it is, Sussex bookseller ones. And I thought, ooh, it was very cheap. And I thought, this is absolutely fascinating. It's very sharp imagery as well. I thought, that looks really nice. You know, you got here Chris Bacalo, just really, really good. I haven't coloured any of these, but they are just beautiful. Like I say, illustrations, but also some covers, and also covers sometimes without the text as well. And of course, you've got like Marvel Features, The Defenders, just a great little colouring book. I've got Logan's Run one of this, and I've also got a few others as well. They're all great. DC brought out a really nice one, DC one, because it's got Golden Age as well. Obviously, Doctor Strange, got Silver Age as well as Bronze, etc. I love this book, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, by Stan Lee and John Buscema. Really, really beautiful book. Now, this came out years and years ago, and I was watching one of those brilliant videos on YouTube. Whenever you watch any videos, a bit like mine, you end up watching them and think, I must pick up that book. And one of these books, I've seen it for many years, I've read it before, and I thought, ooh, I must get a copy. How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. I'm never going to use it to draw the comics the Marvel way, but still, it is full of some really good, and not, there's some really great ones where it's sort of like do a quick sketch and then suddenly mysteriously a real beautiful face appears. You think, wish it was that easy. I don't think it is. But still, it's really full of some great John Buscema work, and it's really worth checking out, How to Draw the Marvel Way. I think they've done similar ones later, but I haven't got those. But that one, I think that was one of the earliest sort of how to draw ones. This is great. Warren magazines. Now, I think they've got a hardback version, and I probably should have got the hardback version, but still, this one is really, really good. They also had obviously some other Warren books as well, Warren Publishing, that really was. But this one is quite good. I wouldn't say it's a total masterpiece, but certainly when I did my first review of it, I did a review a little while back, and I was sort of like slightly dismissive. But I must admit, I think to be fair, it is actually a very, very good little book. So this is an illustrated one. They're really good magazine. You go bookpalace.com, and they've got loads of these ones. Sometimes like war comics and sort of Spanish comics, Spanish artists and those sort of things. And this one, like I said, Warren magazines. And it's full of loads and loads of examples, obviously of Warren artwork, obviously the covers there, and much, much more. So if you want to know something about the brilliant Warren, like Vampirella, creepy, eerie, etc., this book is definitely worth checking out. It's not huge, and like I say, this is the paperback version, but it's still worth checking out, as it says special. They bring out loads of specials. I think I saw this recently, and loads more brilliant books coming out all the time. This one's a very unusual one. This one covers, but wow, take that, Adolf. Some really stunning covers. Not some are quite big, obviously big full page, just great. Obviously some are like quarter pages, and it's full of all covers of the Second World War. Now, not assuming it includes every single cover that had an Adolf or war theme on it, but still a considerable number, and it's well, there's the details on the back. Loads and loads of great artists. The Red Skull, the Joker, obviously all the baddies there. And you've got the artists Jack Kirby, Joseph, a lot of brilliant artists. 500 breathtakingly restored World War II comic books. Really worth checking out. And you should be able to pick up copies of this. This one is from Fantagraphic Books. I love them. Fantagraphic Books are always great. This one, Nostalgia About Comics, really nice one. This is UK comics, very unusual UK comics. And this is really worth checking out. If you love UK comics, this one's, it's not very big, 68 pages it says there, but it is full of some great stuff. You've got Wiz Comics, Black Hawk, Sparkman, and vast 40s and 50s, the glorious comic books of that period. Really, really excellent read. So worth checking out. Nostalgia About Comics. And I love that. I don't know what one that is on the cover. Can't make that out. But it's still worth checking out. This is superb. I just love Doc Savage. Doc Savage one. And this has got lots and lots of Doc. And it's the artist that's the Doc Savage. Obviously Harlan Nelson as well was always great. American realist. Loads of brilliant paintings. Lots of great designs. All the ways. And he also did things which I must admit, I was quite surprised. I didn't realise. Star Trek covers as well, and many others, westerns as well. Obviously there, Harlan Nelson, obviously Hal Elson there, and others. And this one's from Flesk Publications. Really worth checking out if you're a Doc Savage fan. Definitely brilliant book. This is superb as well. I grew up reading lots and lots of the Doctor Who books. Target produced, and of course thousands of, well, there weren't thousands, but there were certainly hundreds. Felt like hundreds anyway. And I read most of them. And they had lots and lots of covers by this superb artist who sadly died fairly recently. Brilliant. Absolutely. The Doctor Who art of Chris Achiello, a Greek artist. Clack. I don't know how it's said, but still just brilliant. You can see obviously Davros, the Daleks, Cybermen, Zygons, etc. And obviously the Doctors there. And of course, Claws of Axos on the back there. Clack, as it says there. Loads of great covers, and the thing about them, there's none of the text, so you've got the actual covers, and also you've got some details, all various the editions, BBC audio books, issues, reissues, etc. This is absolutely fascinating, but this is, I have to say, a really weird sort of pencil sketch, sort of just on sort of note paper. It's just really amazing. My really unusual story as well. My favourite thing, I should say, is Monsters. So Emil Ferris, really, it's a real sick book, and it's wow. And you can see the artwork there. It is quite impressive. Really well. And again, this is another weirdly Fantagraphic Books. I've got lots of Fantagraphic books. I've got no affiliation with Fantagraphics. So, but I do seem to pick up an awful lot of Fantagraphics as well as IDW. I think they just produce lots of great books. And this one is definitely up there. My favourite thing is Monsters. And I'm not going to pick up another Fantagraphic ones. This one is quite an old one, this one. Spring Books. It was from Spring Books. And I picked this up at a Comic Mart. I think it was £1. And I thought, ooh, I definitely will have that because this is great. Superman from the 30s to the 70s. Obviously that dates it. So obviously it's quite an old book. And it's got a number of stories. We've got all the stories there as well as other information about Superman. But it's predominantly stories, black and white, as well as, is that in colour? There's a few bits of colour, but mostly it's mainly black and white. So absolutely brilliant. Superman from the 30s to the 70s. And you can see it's quite a thick book as well. I don't know how many pages, but it's certainly £1.25 as well back in the day. Printed in England. Says here, does it say, 36 pages of colour and 28 full stories. So really worth checking out that book if you're a fan of Superman. I love dancing. I dance all the time. I love Zumba. I love going to salsa, bachata, all those sort of things. I also love Strictly. I love singing, loads of other things as well. And so I just got this, I had to get this one. Anton's Dance Class. It's quite a fascinating book, and I love going through it because there's lots of great ideas for dance. Anton Dubek, absolutely brilliant. It's got a forward, obviously, by Len Goodman there, and great little series as well. So the recent season has been amazing. This book, excellent. thoroughly enjoyable. And on the back there as well. And you got foxtrot, rumba. I love rumba. Waltz, cha-cha-cha, as they always say. She always says it in an unusual way. Tango, paso doble. Oh, I'm not really into that. I must admit, all those sort of ones, the Argentinians, sort of that paso doble, the tango, whatever. Not my favourite. Samba, I love that. Quick step, brilliant. Viennese waltz, jive, I love jive, all those things. But this great little book. And another one, strange enough, another dance manual, a complete step-by-step guide. This is really good. Done in a Haynes sort of motoring, sort of unusual way of doing it, but still, dance manual's got all about heels, Bollywood class, dress codes, all those sort of things. Argentina tango, again, jazz, Broadway jazz sequences, burlesque, lots of different styles. And you've got there the history, essence of dance styles, dress codes, and much, much more. So if you're into dance, I think these books are really good. Obviously, there's zillions of YouTube videos as well. But of course, just going out to dance places, just having a great time. This one, a nursery companion. I love these sort, but this one's all like Regency period, Georgian period, all sort of old time nursery. And then it's basically a comic book, but historical one with all, you can see how people lived at the time. And this is provided by Iona and Peter Opie. And I just think it's just a great book. And you can see the sort of illustrations on the back there as well. Just beautiful. Absolutely. I wish there were more books. Apparently, lots of these illustrations are virtually impossible to see. Super rare. So this book is just great to actually see the original, sort of like nursery. Obviously, there's nursery ones, but they're just really, really good. The text is modern, but the actual images, of course, nicely cleaned up. They're obviously not really bad condition ones. I don't know how much work was done to make them look super clean, but they are. This one's really good. However, I know there's a lot of controversy over these ones, so I'm not going to say this is the only one I've got. Oh, I think this is the reason I got it. Land of the Lost, because of course it's not printed. I would love to see Dark Horse, but of course licensing issues, all those sort of things. I'm quite certain it's virtually impossible to ever. This one here, you can see there. I tell the weird code number 1255A, but I thought Land of the Lost, and the artwork is just really beautiful. And of course, EC Comics. This is pre-trend. I wish they would bring out all of the pre-trend. I would love to see these finally come out because they are actually genuinely good. And there's a lot of really good pre-trend, some pretty awful pre-trend as well, EC ones. But this one's the black and white edition. I thought, oh, you know what? I must find out. Just see about the stories. I didn't know anything about Land of the Lost. So this one, all pages, 10 cents in full colour. But it says in full colour, but this one is in black and white. This one is an unusual, I can't even say it, Urania. And I love Esteban Maroto. It's full of obviously sexual designs, imagery. It's maybe not for everyone, it's 18 plus as they would say, but it's still an art book full of black and white illustrations, pencil sketches and much more by one of the really, I love Esteban Maroto. Well, obviously Warren Comics, all those sort of ones, creepy, but he did loads of great work. Just masterpieces, all masterpieces as far as I'm concerned. So this one, very thin book. Now he's produced, not as many, this one's a Norma editorial. I always like Norma editorial. I would love to see some really thick volumes of Esteban Maroto. For some weird reason, maybe they're available in Spain, Italy, whatever, on the continent, but I have never seen any real massive books about this artist. I think he's one of the best. It's just a pity they don't seem to, you get a few volumes, and that's it. Very unusual. This is lovely. I love cover books. Now, weirdly, this doesn't actually have a title. This is the Fables. And you can see there, Fables. And it's all the covers, of course, without all, and it's also got pencil sketches, etc. Beautiful book. Absolutely. I really quite enjoyed many of the stories. Not all the stories. But the covers were superb artwork. And he's got, obviously, Vertigo. And this is James Jean and Fables, the complete covers by James Jean. And really beautiful artwork all the way through. And obviously, there's the back cover. Again, an absolutely stunning back cover. So Vertigo Press, definitely worth checking out. If you're a fan of brilliant covers, I think this sort of book is great. I would love to see more of these sort of collections, especially Vertigo. Vertigo had loads of great covers, and often obviously they had all the text over them. Sometimes I think over the top with lots and lots of text, and sometimes ruined a bit. So it's quite nice to see them without the covers, the text. This is a really good book, an unusual book. Michael E. Uslan, The Boy Who Loved Batman, a memoir. It's a true story of a comic-obsessed kid conquered Hollywood to bring darkness, and it's fascinating, full of some just great information about Batman, comic collecting, and much, much more. Really love this book. Spellbinding tale of one man who saw Batman was and realised what he could become. And a really enjoyable memoir as well. That's The Boy Who Loved Batman. She's Josie, Archie Comic Presents. I love these books. These are just brilliant, colourful, brilliant, fun, and they include the stories from the 60s. Absolutely amazing. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a volume 2, volume 3. This is volume 1, but it's a part of a series. I think, looking online, it suggests that it was volume 25. You can see some other volumes as well. So you've got Josie and the Pussycats. Now, I don't know if the stories were the continuation from this or not. Still, this is really good. Brilliant, fairly thin, but at the same time, and you can see the size, of course, it's not a huge book. It says here, She's Josie, the first of a chronological collection of titles featuring every... So this suggests that it's actually volume 1 of the series. Slightly confusing. I say online, it suggests it's volume 25. Here, it seems to be volume 1. But still, She's Josie, really worth checking out, especially if you love Archie comics. These are just great. I've got a few Archie ones. I wish I'd have more. Some of them I probably will get in Kindle version. I think probably I won't be getting them all in sort of physical edition. You can get overload of these sort of books. There's also one of Sabrina. I got Sabrina volume 1. It was like the early stories. And then weirdly, they didn't bring a physical version out. They only just brought out the Kindle version. So that's one, another one that I think I'll have to get at some point in the Kindle version. I love books of photography. This one, absolutely superb. New York, then and now. Of course, it says there 1864 to 1938, and then the pictures in 1970. Obviously, where it says now, it means the 1970s, but still full of lots and lots of great pictures of New York, and it's of course in black and white, but it's really, really good read. Stand in the footsteps of early New Yorkers, and it just goes through obviously showing the past and, well, obviously now 50 odd years ago. 83 matching photographs, it says there. That's a big clue how many pictures are in this book. I've got quite a few of those. I've got like New York ones of the 60s, 40s, etc. I just love picking those sort of books up. And I've got a few in this pile. This is great. 60s in Queen. This is obviously all pictures and articles and magazines. Not obviously everything. It's very selective. It's got like obviously the usual suspects, Kingsley Amis, Twiggy, the Rolling Stones, etc. Must admit, some of these people I've never heard of. Mark's Boxer. I'm not certain who he is. However, full of some great pictures all the way through this. Again, the 60s. It's a fairly thin book, but still a really interesting. I would love to see more covers. They don't really include a huge amount of covers. In fact, just flicking through quickly, there's not that many at all. But that would have been nice. But lots of fashion pictures and lots of great articles from that time. And I've got a few of these sort of books. Whenever I see those sort of things, I think, oh, I must get that. I just got one recently, and it was just, which I will be doing a review of, and I just love those sort of books. This one's superb, Tissot by Christopher Wood. I've got a couple of books obviously about Tissot. I think he's a superb artist, absolutely beautiful, beautiful paintings. And this one, I think, is probably my favourite, featuring Tissot. Really quite sizable, chunky book. Most of the other ones I've got are fairly small. But this one is great, full of some brilliant examples of his work. I don't think it includes everything, but it includes a considerable number of amazing works. You can see there the back cover. So there, Christopher Wood, Tissot. And again, another book I got from Oxfam. This one was £4.99. Really nice art book. Yeah, another New York book. I love these New York books, then and now. Again, obviously a period. Now, I'm not certain the period that it was covering here, obviously 19th century, etc. But it goes with all the usual suspects: Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, the Flatiron, etc. Really, really nice pictures. Predominantly colour, and obviously the modern ones are in black and white. And I don't know if it puts the date of the current ones. I don't know. But 1990s, 2000, I'm not certain. But it's still a really, and it's a nice format as well. It's obviously landscape and some great pictures all the way through that. And another New York one. I love New York pictures. New York, I've been to New York, and not that many times, but a number of times. I love New York, love going around. I've spent a lot of time photographing all around. And of course, these ones are just great. New York in the 60s. For me, when I went to New York, I was really hoping it was going to be like this, or like the 40s. Of course, it's nothing like that, but because I grew up with all like the film noirs and all those things, so I sort of had that view. And of course, Kojak. Okay, Kojak, I found out later, wasn't it? There's bits of it sort of like New York. Apparently, the rest of it was filmed elsewhere. How disappointing. I just grew up assuming it was New York. Anyway, what did I know? But this one's New York in the 60s, photographs by Klaus Lennertz. Just absolutely superb, really evocative pictures. Now, I don't know, maybe 159. It says there, 159 precise. It says precise, really good. That black and white photographs, really beautiful. And this one is, strange enough, New York in the 40s. A lot of these books were available in my local library. I loved picking these up, and I thought, you know what, I must get a copy of the book. And so I did. 162 photographs, obviously all of New York in the 40s. Just obviously all in black and white. Just beautiful, absolutely evocative of the time. And again, that was my vision of what New York was going to be. When I actually went there eventually in 1980s, it wasn't anything like it. And it certainly wasn't in black and white. That would have been really weird, wouldn't it? But still, I love dancing. And this one's How to Dance Bachata. I love bachata. Really good. The Hottest Club Star, Latin dance explained step by step. Really, really good. Now, this one's got 389 photographs demonstrating the moves. And the reason I got this, got lots of YouTube videos. I go to various clubs, do bachata, all those things. And it's great to learn by doing all those things. But sometimes what you want is basically photographs, slow motion, so you can see where the arms rise, how you move to left, and all that sort of stuff. Where the feet go, or how the fingers, all the various holds, all that sort of stuff. If you want, I mean, obviously you can do whatever style you want, but it's just really nice just to go through. And this book really explains it really well. 28 bachata steps, turns, combos, and sexy dips, as it says. I don't think I've ever done a sexy dip. I just have sexy dips. But anyway, it's just great. Sexy styling techniques made simple. Secrets to being a good lead and follow. Now, I'm absolutely the worst lead in the world. Anyone expecting me to win the lead, I end up just following whatever everyone else does. But I just thoroughly enjoy dancing. I must admit, that's probably why I'm probably better with like Zumba than I am with bachata and salsa, but I do enjoy it all the same. This is brilliant. I love these slipcase ones, but the trouble with slipcase ones, it's always got virtually impossible to get out sometimes. You sort of just drag that out. But wow, I mean, Alex Ross, you can't beat an Alex Ross slipper. Real sort of slipcase, real nice chunky quality work. This one's the absolute Justice League, the world's greatest superheroes. Brilliant, absolutely superb. Alex Ross, Paul Dini. Dini? I'm not certain how you say that. But it's beautiful, absolute beautiful, full of some... Oh, let's just take it out. Instead of saying it's beautiful, just probably dented the cover there, just so I could just clonked it. However, world's greatest superheroes, Alex Ross, wow, look at that, just dynamic on that cover. And then you've got the back cover, of course, classic, the Brave and the Bold. 28 was number 28, wasn't it? And you got here the Green Lantern, Flash, etc. Just superb, absolutely brilliant. Now, of course, I probably won't be able to get it back in again. Let's put that back in and move over there. Betty and Veronica. Again, I'm a mega fan of Archie comics. I really don't know much about Archie comics, I have to admit, but I love picking them up. And this one's Betty and Veronica. 400 pages. They're fairly small. I mean, they're not like huge, not massive books either, but these are the best stories of the past 70 years. I would love to see them do that. I don't know why they don't bring out big, huge chunky sort of omnibus editions, or maybe even sort of like the artist editions. I've never seen an artist edition of Betty and Veronica. That would be unusual from IDW, wouldn't it? But still, these are just great, really full of some... I must admit, I do find the information that they include, it's good. I mean, nothing wrong with it. But it's like sometimes you get other books and you think, have I got that one? Or have I seen that one before? I don't know. Because there's just so many of them. There's not really like a consistent format for everyone. There's no sort of collection like the Epic collections from Marvel, where you get all of the Archie comics, in order, all perfectly dated. I would love to see that in that sort of size format as well. That would be brilliant. But unfortunately, what happens is you get lots and lots of these books where you've got different collections of different stories, and you get to the point where you think, have I had that one before? Or have I seen that one before? And I've read so many of these stories over the years, and it's just sometimes gets a bit sort of confusing about which ones I've got or which ones I haven't got. I am a mega fan of criminal comics. These ones, Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, they're just brilliant. Now, I would have to say this is not my favourite. It was okay. It was really, really good. Read this book, but I preferred the previous one. Volume 4 was my favourite of the entire series so far, but I've got lots of the other ones. I really hope they bring out at some point the Criminal Deluxe Edition Volume 2. I've got Volume 1, got Volume 3, haven't got Volume 2. Why has that never been brought out? I was listed, I think, at some point, and then nothing. But still, at some point, maybe it will come out. But this is still... But the one thing with Reckless stories, this one's 1989. They often bounce backwards and forwards in time. So you've got stories set in certain periods, back and forth. And they do get slightly... You think, oh, what period are we talking about now with the stories? This one's about the earthquake in the wake of the 1989 earthquake. But they are really, really worth getting. Follow Me Down, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. And the colouring is superb by Jacob Phillips. I love these ones. A Rex book. And I will get the next volume. I don't know. Maybe it's been already listed. I haven't checked. So I don't always check all the time. But this one I will probably must go and check it after doing this video, actually. This is an exhibition. This was one at the British Library. I love British Library exhibitions. Most of the time they're all sort of like Tudor England or some sort of Regency period or sort of books of Shakespeare or something, whatever. But this time it was comics. They don't do enough comics ones. I think this is the only one. I think it's the only one. They did a science fiction one and that was pretty good. It was okay. Likewise, this. It was not a masterpiece exhibition. I wouldn't say I came away from it thinking, wow, that was really the best exhibition. But it was still very interesting by Paul Gravett. And he did he's done loads of other brilliant books. This one is still an excellent book. Lots of information all the way through. Obviously following all the material that was in the exhibition and a little bit more. And you've got the details there on the back. Comics Unmasked. Impressionism. This is a lovely book. This one is, and there's so many Impressionism books. This is one trouble. When you buy lots of art books, you go and quite often I go into like Oxfam Books. And I think Rembrandt, you can guarantee like there will be about 10 Rembrandt books. There'll be 10 Picasso books. There'll be 10 Impressionist books. And it's very hard. Sometimes you think, oh, I must... And I quite often flick through it and think, oh, I know what, I don't know that artist or this artist, or I haven't seen that work before. I probably have, but this one I really, genuinely, really loved. I was really pleased to get this one. This one, Art, Leisure and Parisian Society. A really, really good read. Thoroughly, a fresh look, penetrating look at Impressionist painters. And it was a really good book. So really recommended. Robert L. Herbert. Quite a thick, decent book. Lots and lots, of course, brilliant illustrations. And of course, it's got the usual suspects. Renoir, etc. Monet, all the usuals. But still, it's got lots of other information about many of the other artists. And so that's really worth checking out. And that's what I like about books. I'm not really one for that it always has to be all about Leonardo or it always has to be about Michelangelo. So if you get a Renaissance book, I love to get books and I like more the obscurest artists to be mentioned. I've just bought a book about women's artists over the 400 years. It'll be hopefully here at some point. And I'm really looking forward to it because there's lots of brilliant artists that just very rarely get any mention in any art books. And it's nice when you get a book that's got lots of artists. You think, I've never heard of that person. Some really brilliant artists. And they never get mentioned at all. Picasso, hundreds and hundreds of mentions. I mean, I'm not saying they're not brilliant. I love Picasso. I love Rembrandt. I love Leonardo. But I wish that they would also cover other ones. And that's one sometimes when you watch TV programmes as well, there's some really great art historians, and it's nice when they cover other artists that are slightly more obscure, more interesting to find out about those. I love these sort of books. This is another reason why I love these sort of books, is because it does have lots and lots of great paintings by lots of obviously fairly well-known, but also not so well-known artists, as well as lots of memorabilia, posters and all those sort of things. And this one's the Canterbury Auction Galleries. This one's quite close to me. I have never been to one. Canterbury Auction, that is. Walked past the building many times. And this was in June, 12th of June, 11th to 12th of June. Really good. And you can see details there. And then on the back cover there. But I've been up to a number of auctions up in London. I've never bought anything in an auction. Whenever I've gone, I've actually signed all these sorts of things, to go and think. And I sit there thinking, I'm going to buy something this time. I never do. I look at it, the prices just go, and you think, oh, no, I'm not going to. Or sometimes at the start of the exhibition, quite often the auction, you sort of go, oh yeah, I might go for that one. Or I won't, and I might go for that. And then of course it's gone. And it's like £10 or something. You think, oh, I should have bought that one. And then, of course, by the time you actually get, I think I might start buying, and then suddenly it's £2,000, £5,000, and you think, oh no, that's way beyond my sort of thing. I think, ooh. And this one's Irish and International Art. Now, this is Monday, 6th of June again. I got quite a lot of these catalogues. I don't keep them all the time. I must admit, the ones that I get and I sort of look at, I think, this is brilliant. Depending on the artwork inside, I think some I've kept because I think, that's absolutely great. But this one, White's catalogue since 1783, and full of some really great drawings and paintings as well. And I say, worth checking out these catalogues. I hope that bar doesn't fall over. Looks very, very unbalanced. This one's a comic art price guide. I've got volume 2 of this. Jerry Weist, of course, died fairly recently. This is the 3rd edition, and of course it's got price range values all out of date now. But this is just so full of so many brilliant illustrations. Not all, you can see, of course, as I flick through, not many, but you've got lots of illustrations as well in the back. As well as there, you can see there on the cover, Batman, Marvel Tales, lots of great ones there. And all these sort of books. Heritage Art Auction catalogues are great as well. They're a similar sort of thing. But this is a nice, thick, chunky book, really worth checking out. And not only that, it's got tons of information as well about all different artists. So you've got here like Tina Robbins. You've got other ones, Jose Gonzalez, all the various prices and things, and also just information about the artist as well, sort of about cowboy life and all the various paintings and drawings he did. Reading up, not Jose Gonzalez, that is. Though he might have done cowboy drawings, who knows? This one, Why I Hate Saturn. I haven't read this yet. I love the artwork though. Carl Baker. And it's unusual. Vertigo, yet another one of those brilliant Vertigo books. Vertigo, so many great books. Sadly, I haven't got as many as I would like. I've quite often over the years I've seen lots, and I think the collections sort of go and disappear, and sometimes not so easy to find particularly. But still, and also I'd love to see a massive collection of covers of Vertigo. There's a few, but not as many as there should be. This one's there. You've got the details. A cranky columnist, Anne Merkel, is only happy when she's complaining about her editors, etc. But it's fascinating. I picked this up at an Oxfam shop. I can't much, about 50p or something. Yeah, pretty good. I love the artwork. I say at one point I will actually read it. Most of these I've actually read quite a lot of. Some I just haven't. They've just sort of been on the pile. And one day I will get around. Likewise, this one, Men at Sea. I did do a review of one of this Riff Rebs. Absolutely stunning artwork. Now this is French. I think it's French artist, Belgium. I'm not certain. I think it was French, and just beautiful. Absolute amazing. Now this one is in. I think this is Dead Reckoning. This is a Dead Reckoning one. Oh no, this is the one I've actually reviewed. That's me talking about. I've actually bought a couple other Riff Reb ones. Riff Reb, unusual name. Translated by Joe Johnson. I love the Dead Reckoning ones. deadreckoning.org. Really worth checking out their website, and they've got lots and lots of different books. And this one's obviously got stories there. Got a list of the stories there. Joseph Conrad, also Edgar Allan Poe, etc. This is superb. This is a series of archives of horror comics. I love these sort of volumes. This one is the Complete Voodoo, Volume 3. Now, many of these are probably now completely out of print, but they're still reasonably easy to get. Not always the cheapest, but still they're worth picking up. And I picked this one up at a local comic shop. It was one of those ones you sort of like saying, oh, it's about £5 or something. I thought, you know what, I'm going to have that. And I love it. The Complete Voodoo, Volume 3. And again, my favourite, Craig Yo. He brings out an IDW. Brings out so many brilliant books. I love this one. So this one, it's got praise here for Complete Voodoo Volume 1 and 2 on the back there. The Chilling Archives of Horror Comics. There are quite a lot in this series. I don't know, about 18 or 19. Got lots of, obviously, the original artwork. It's not done, sort of cleaned up or anything. So it's sort of, but still, well, slight bit of cleaning up, I'm certain. But really, really, really nice horror comics. Here's another one. This one is Jack Cole's, and I've done reviews, so please, if you've got any requests for reviews, please put in the comments below. Perfectly happy to review. I have reviewed this one. Jack Cole, I love Jack Cole's work. Deadly Horror. This one's Craig Yo again. Now, unfortunately, the weird thing about these is that there's no numbering. There was like a series of about 18 or 20. I can't remember exactly. But this is the Chilling Archives again. And, well, it's probably, I think it might say inside, but it does include some lot of good essays as well. Got some great little essays there, as well as, of course, covers and those sort of things. And, of course, the original artwork as well. Just absolutely superb. Really worth checking out. And another one, strange enough, Bob Powell's Terror, another one in the series. Again, no information, particularly if this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. But this one is Bob Powell's Terror by, again, Craig Yo. Great little series. And this one does actually have some original pages. It's got I just love it. Just really, really beautiful. Pity that a lot of these, of course, just don't exist anymore. Or if they do, they're obviously in people's collections, because they are just, I would have preferred to see them all in this sort of format. But still, great to see them obviously in the original, sort of as they were printed originally. As well as, of course, it's got some essays, etc. at the front. And it's just a quality book. Really nice quality book from Craig Yo. Yes, another brilliant one, part of their Chilling Archives collection. This one, Mad About Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Mad, of course, is brilliant as well. This one's 30 years of classic parodies. And it's really good. Got some very nice illustrations all the way through. So you've got here some very unusual artwork. Really, if you're a Star Wars fan, I think this is a must-have. Mad About Star Wars. I've got quite a few Star Wars books. That one, really pleased with. And I do tutorials. Do lots and lots of tutorials, video tutorials on Photoshop. Now this one is Photoshop 6. I know probably will say, hang on, we're on 2022, 2023 now. Quite a way past, obviously, Adobe Photoshop 6.0. But the thing about this is you've got the catalogue here. You've got the complete sort of description. These sort of books don't exist anymore. I would love to see Adobe bring out, obviously, a book like this again. It would be brilliant, but no. You have to obviously got a user guide online. Not the same, just not the same. And that's why I got this, because the thing is, when you look at online, you quite often you get a certain different idea about it. When you read it in the book, you sort of get a thing, oh, you know what? I'm going to do a tutorial about the measure tool. I don't know, I'm just picking a thing, or using guides and grids. If I look at it online, I don't always see that. So that's why I've got this, because it's just great. And plus, I've still got that version still running on my PC. I mean, really? I mean, it's so long time ago. It'd be nice if I actually had version 4 or 3 even, but I haven't. I did have version 3. The discs are long gone. I think they were on floppy disks. I'm certain they were. But this is the user guide by Adobe. I just love it. Just clearly Adobe imaging, it says right down the bottom there. And I went to a shop in Seattle and it had like zillions of boxes of all these sort of Adobe Photoshop books. And I think they had number 1, Photoshop 1.2 or 1.0 or something. version 2. And I thought, oh, maybe I should buy a load of those just to get the books. They were like ridiculously cheap. It was like some massive bookshop with all these sort of brilliant old freehand and other ones as well. And it was just, I thought, oh, the trouble was, of course, it was Seattle. I'd have to take them all back to the UK. And I thought, I'm not going to buy all those. So I didn't. But at the same time, whenever I see sort of old, lovely books like this in bookshops, and again, I'm certain I bought this in Oxfam, I think, oh, I'm going to get a copy of that. Certainly for £1, perfectly or 50p or something, perfectly reasonable, and a fascinating read. So Adobe Photoshop version 6. So that's a run through of that shelf. I hope you found this of interest. Any questions, please put in the comments below. Any books you want me to review with a bit more detail, please let me know as well in the comments. I will try and do that. Can't promise that, of course. I might, of course, shuffle them off to another bookshelf somewhere and they might reappear. So my apologies if you see them again. You think, I've seen that in another one. I do it occasionally because I put them somewhere else. Anyway, bye.